The 19th century is one of those centuries of enormous change. Britain in 1800 was a hugely different place to Britain in 1900. Britain had undergone the Industrial Revolution, so it had gone from a still largely farming economy to one that was manufacturing on an enormous scale. Cities had grown enormously, particularly big industrial centres. It was also a period that really saw the peak of the British Empire. It was said by the end of Victoria's reign that the sun never set on the British Empire, and that was largely true. If you look at maps of the world in Victoria's reign, large parts of it are coloured pink to show the British Empire. So it was a period of huge change, but it was also a period of hardship, of difficulty. Although there were social changes made in the period, for example, it became compulsory for children to attend school. Checks were put on child labour, for example. Women's rights increased to some extent in the Victorian period, particularly in relation to the custody of children and the ownership of their own property. But in general, if you were poor, it was a hard time to live throughout the 19th century. There was very little poor relief. If you were destitute, you went to the workhouse. And of course, when we think about the workhouse, we think about Oliver Twist being fed gruel. But actually, it was a largely unpleasant experience. People would do almost anything to avoid having to go to the workhouse. And it really was when you're at your absolute lowest. Mortality rates were very, very high, particularly among children. Death and disease was rife again in the cities. It was a time of great innovation. It was a time of great learning. You know, this is where we have Charles Darwin.